Vanakkam. Welcome back to our course on SAP Materials Management. Purchase requisitions are used to request purchasing department to procure a particular material or service for a specific quantity for a particular date. In this session, we will discuss various elements in purchase requisitions, how to create and change purchase requisitions, and also basic concepts of releasing purchase requisitions. Before going into the session, let us see the answers for the quiz of the previous session. So where can you see the stock requirements and receipts of a material in same transaction? It is stock requirement list MD04. Please note this transaction is a very powerful transaction for both planner and buyers, so that you will be able to understand every concept, every aspects of the materials through the single transaction code. What transaction can be performed from stock requirement list? We can perform many transactions like change or delete planning elements like purchase requisition, purchase order, planned order, production order, etc. Can we see the metal master attributes from stock requirement list? Yes, we can see the MRP related metal master parameters from MD04 itself by clicking the small flag button near the material code that field. What is order report? Order report is a list of status of subsequent orders of the components required to complete a material. With this report, a planner or buyer or salesperson can understand the exact status of the selected order of the material. This is very useful report. Please go through this report in detail. You can understand the usage of this report only if we explore it in a better way and also in detailed way. What is range of coverage? Range of coverage or days supply indicate number of days the available stock and the receipts will cover the demand. This is one more report which will be very helpful to understand how much the available stock and also how much the firm orders like production orders or planned orders, production orders and purchase orders, and the proposals like planned orders, purchase requisitions with the different combinations can cover the demand in the future, right? That is what is the purpose. If the range of coverage is very less, then it's a problem. Range of coverage is more means it is more inventory. Both the way it will be very useful. What are the exception messages? Due to change in demand or supply, there will be changes in the status of the orders which need attention from planners and buyers. These are indicated as exception messages by system. Again, understanding the exception messages is very important for the planners and buyers so that they can take the proactive actions. So far we discussed the fundamentals of metal master like organization structure, master data, business case, and also material master in detail, then BOM and production version, the purchasing master data like business partner, purchase info record, source list, and then demand management. What is demand? What is the demand? How demand is managed in SAP? And then MRP. What is MRP logic? How MRP run can be carried out in SAP, and how to evaluate the MRP outputs. These are the points we discussed. Now, what output we are getting from MRP? The MRP will give planned orders to produce the products and purchase requisitions to buy the materials. So now we are moving to discuss about purchase requisitions. Purchase requisitions are either created manually by the department responsible or automatically by MRP. When a purchase requisition for materials that we have material master record, SAP supports users by transferring data in the metal master record into the purchase requisition. Purchasing team converts the purchase requisition to request for quotation or purchase order or outline agreement. A purchase requisition is the first step in the demand for materials, either entered by requisitioner or generated out of requirements like MRP. That's what we discussed now. A requisition contains the materials or services to be procured, a required date of delivery and a quantity. Normally, a purchase requisition does not contain a vendor and is generally not printed out because it is an internal company document. Let us start discussing the creation of purchase requisition manually. Then we will discuss various elements of PR which are applicable to both purchase requisition generated manually or through MRP. The menu path to create purchase requisition is shown here, and the transaction is ME51N. In the purchase requisition, three sections are there: header, item overview, and item details. Let us start discussing the item overview along with creating the purchase requisition. In this page, a requisitioner will define many fields and enter the details like material, the short text description, quantity, unit, and delivery date fields. In addition to the fields, the following information can be entered in the requisition line like material group, plant, storage location, requisitioner, purchasing organization, manufacturer's part number, purchasing info record number, desired vendor, and requirement tracking number. These details we'll discuss. One of the first inputs we need to enter here are the item category. The item category defines whether an item requires and can have a material number, account assignment, goods receipt, and invoice receipt. The item category is displayed depend on the document type. In customizing, we can define which item categories are allowed for which documents. The standard item categories that are defined include the following. Standard means these are used for materials that are to be procured externally. Normally, this is represented by a blank. And then subcontracting. This is represented by L. The finished product is ordered from a vendor. The components required for the vendor to make the product are sent to them, which are given as material to be provided items. That is a subcontracting. Then consignment, K. The vendor makes materials available at customer place, which is a consignment stock. Liability only rises when the material is withdrawn from the consignment stock, not when the stock is placed in the consignment stores. That is, the supplier keeps the material at customer place. It will be invoiced only when the customer is consuming it. Okay, that is a consignment stock. And then stock transfer orders, U. The material is transferred from one plant to another. That is item category U. And then we have like other item categories also. So please explore them, all right, so that you will be able to use them in the right way and apply them properly. Next important field to understand is account assignment category. An account assignment category field A determines what type of accounting assignment is required for purchase requisitions. Examples of accounting assignments are cost centers, cost objects, SAP general ledger accounts, and assets. Required account assignment data is needed for specific account assignments like asset A means asset number and sub number. Then production order F is used, which will be identifying production order number. Cost center K, which will be identifying cost center number and GL account number. Sales order identify the sales order and GL account number. Project P links with sales order and GL account number. Project P, that is assigning with the project number and GL account number, like this. So account assignment categories can be configured in the system. Again, please understand the impact of these things. Accordingly, these things can be used. The requisitioner field is another free form field where a purchasing user can add the requisitioner's name to search and order the purchase requisitions. For example, if one person is tasked with entering all purchase requisitions for a department, that person can enter the name of the person who actually wrote the requisition in the requisitioner field. And then requirement tracking number, that is normally called as RTN. It does not represent the requisition or the requisitioners, but it is a free form field where the tracking number can be entered. This field can be used by the person to identify a RFQ which is uniquely for a specific project, or they may enter a unique RTN so that all the purchase orders can be assigned to a specific project or specific activities. Like that, it can be linked. So this is to identify a group of purchase requisition purchase orders specific to a project or specific to some activities, like a cost saving project or cost saving activities. For these things, you are raising some purchase requisition purchase orders. We can use this as a tracking number. Now we are moving to the item section. Here, under the material data tab, material code, material description, supplier material code, and batch details, those things will appear. Now we are in the quantity tab, that is the quantity dates tab. Please note here, the closed indicator can be set if the purchase requisition no longer needs to be converted into purchase order. And selecting the fixed indicator, fixed ID, will prevent automatic changes to the purchase requisition during MRP run. That is, if this indicator is free, then MRP can change the details in the PR. If this fixed indicator is checked, then MRP cannot change this. Please understand this point. And then request date. Request date is the date on which the purchase request is created either manually or through MRP. Release date is arrived based on the lead time and goods receipt processing time and also the opening period. The data on the planned delivery time and the goods receipt processing time are taken from the metal master if these details are maintained in the metal master. See, all these dates need to be understood properly to analyze whether the purchase request is created in the right date by giving right lead time for the purchase department to take their action. If not, then the suitable actions to be taken so that purchase requisitions are created in the right lead time. Now we are in the valuation tab of the purchase requisition. The valuation price is taken directly from the metal master if the material had previously been procured. The valuation price at the item level also forms the basis of triggering the release procedure. Goods receipt shows materials to be a stock item or not. And another point is the invoice receipt, whether the invoice receipt is checked when the metal is received or whether the metal has to be treated as free of cost receipt. So those things also we can block using this. We can identify with this invoice receipt icon. Source of supply tab facilitates a procurement planner to assign sources of supply to the purchase requisition. This step can be performed manually by clicking the assign source of supply button, or can be done automatically, which we'll discuss later. User may fill the desired supplier if they want, because this is the purchase requisition stage, so they can also assign who is the desired supplier. If the sources are defined already, then they may be assigned through the assigned source supply. This is what the button we discussed earlier, assigning it. After assigning the source, the system will fetch the details from purchasing info record as shown here, info record, and also the fixed vendor details. Information in status tab is continually updated when more business process transactions are performed, such as releasing purchase requisitions or creating purchase orders like this. You can also block a purchase requisition from further processing to ensure the purchase requisition is not mistakenly converted into RFQ or agreement or a purchase order. Sometimes a purchase requisition will be created, but that should not be processed. For those things, we can use it. The creation indicator under the contact person tab shows the mode of creation of purchase requisition. That is, whether the purchase requisition is created manually or through MRP run or through production order or through maintenance order like this. Now, after capturing all these details, save the purchase requisition. Right? See, we discuss various parameters and also we are discussing creation of the purchase requisition. Please note that all the parameters we discuss here are applicable to the purchase requisition created by MRP run also. So it is the same right? Only thing is here we are doing manually. For the purchase requisition created with MRP, these details are fetched automatically by the system through MRP. So please go through the PR generated by MRP run and understand these points. So far we discussed how to create a purchase requisition with the material. But there will be a need to create a purchase requisition without material also. Here we'll discuss how to create a purchase requisition without material. When creating a purchase requisition without a material master record for the item, then the purchase requisition must have an account assignment to direct cost to the specific account. The account assignment categories described a few minutes back will help the requisitioner to allocate the cost of the purchase to the current accounts, to the correct accounts. To enter a purchase requisition for an item without material master record, the transaction is the same as before, which is ME51N. The requisitioner can enter the information on the initial stage or leave the screen blank to go directly to the line item screen. In the detailed line item screen, information must be entered because no metal master record exists for this item. The requisitioner must enter a short description like and then account assignment category, quantity to be supplied, unit of measure, delivery date, plant, purchasing group, metal group. The required information will correspond to the account assignment category entered in the line item. After entering the details, save the purchase requisition. So you may wonder, no, where it will be required. Because there are some places where they may not would like to create many material masters because of this kind of small changes, small items, yeah, miscellaneous items, those kind of things. But they want to process them through these purchase requisitions. They can use these transactions. Now we will discuss how to carry out changes in purchase requisitions. To change the purchase requisition manually, transaction code ME52N is used. Menu path is shown here. Please note the purchase requisition without fixed indicator will be changed automatically by MRP if there is a change in the need of a date or quantity. PR with a fixed indicator must be changed manually only. The purchase requisition can be displayed using transaction ME53N or by following the menu path shown here. By default, previous purchase requisition will display. To see other purchase requisition, use the icon shown here and enter the purchase requisition number. Now we will see an important report to show the list of purchase requisitions. Here the transaction is ME5A, menu path is shown here. Why I told it is important report? See, you can see here how many selection parameters are there. By using a right selection parameter, we can get the list of purchase requisitions and convert them into purchase orders. For example, we have details like MRP controller, delivery date, release date, requisitioner, processing, and many other parameters. See, these, many organizations, they convert purchase requisitions without any idea, right? So they convert all the purchase requisitions available into purchase orders. And then after 3 months or after 6 months, they go and close all the purchase orders. All these things are unnecessary activities. Now, so what we have to do is we have to convert only what is required purchase requisitions into purchase order, so that we will be having really executable purchase order into the system. Remaining things will keep there as a purchase requisition itself. So MRP will take care whether we have to keep it as a change the PR or we have to change the quantity or we have to change the date. These things a PR will do it, right? So to select the right purchase requisitions to be converted in specific period, right? For example, I want to create the purchase requisitions which are having delivery date in this month only. Select only those things and convert them. Don't create the purchase order for the purchase requisitions having delivery date next month. Similarly, release date. If I have a release date of this week, because these are the things we have to release this week, I release only those purchase requisitions. Let me not release the purchase requisitions which have to be released next week or after next week. No, those things I will do it next week, right? Like this, if we do it right, it will give a lot of benefits and also very good clarity in handling the purchase requisitions. Transaction MELB can be used to select purchase requisitions by the tracking number. As we discussed, tracking number does not represent the requester, but it can be a tracking number entered by the requester to identify a particular project related purchase requisitions, a particular activity related purchase requisitions, right? Like that we can do it. For example, there is a cost saving project. For that, we'll have a lot of purchase requisitions would have been created, or there may be a capital expenditure. For that, we have to create some purchase requisitions, or there may be a new facility which is getting built up. For those, all we are creating a lot of purchase requisitions, so that we want to identify what are all the purchase requisitions which are specific to those projects. For those things, we can use this stacking number. There are many reasons to close a purchase requisition, right? For example, you would have taken the purchase requisition, it would have been become fixed. We don't want to keep this purchase requisition, or by mistake user created manually. Those things have to be closed, and also no, suddenly the requirement of the metal itself is removed. Like this, many reasons will be there. To close a line item in a purchase requisition, the requester needs to access the transaction ME52N. The line item to be flagged for deletion must be selected, and the requester can select the delete button. The delete indicator on the line item will be checked as shown here. The next option is a purchase requisition can be closed if an indicator is set within the item detail screen. Normally, purchase requisition is closed when the amount requested on the line item of the purchase requisition is equal to the amount has been purchased via purchase order, which means what is the quantity in purchase requisition is equally converted into the quantity of purchase orders, then that will be closed automatically by the system. But if not, we have to go and manually close them. As the purchase requisition is processed, follow-on functions can be carried out before the purchase requisition is converted to purchase order. Transaction ME56 allows a purchasing user to select a range of purchase requisitions to assign a resource. The initial screen allows entry for a large number of variables including metal group, item category, delivery date, cost center, and so on to create list of purchase requisitions for vendor assignment. Here we see list of purchase requisitions based on the selection criteria. We can select purchase requisition that has to be assigned to the vendor. After selecting purchase requisitions, we can choose to have the vendor assigned automatically to the purchase requisitions by selecting assign source of supply option from the green document. What is it? The icon which is shown here, right? And also, why do we here we have some issue. For example, here it is showing that no usable item exists for this selection. Sometimes you may face this kind of problem. So since there is no source defined, system gives this message, which means we have not designed the purchase requisition. So go back there, sorry, we have not defined the purchase info record. So go back, define the purchase info record, the source list, and then come back and assign the source. System will be taking it, it will be assigning the source properly. I say I showed here because I faced this problem initially, so I just wanted to show this to you also so that you can also learn from this. Purchase requisitions can be created if some business process needs materials or services. These are called indirectly created purchase requisitions. These are created when a user performs another business functions, such as creating production order or a maintenance order. For example, purchase requisition created by production order. In production order, two elements determine how operations takes place, one from routing, other from bill of materials. A purchase requisition can be generated automatically when the routing in a production order involves an operation where the metal needs to be sent out for external processing, and then we have to get it back. So for that, purchase requisition will be created. Next is the purchase requisition created by planned maintenance order. These type of orders produce purchase requisitions that are similar to the production order. The maintenance order is created for maintenance operations in the plant. Right? These are the purchase requisition from the maintenance. It may be to send the metal for outside to do some service by the subcontractor. Next is the purchase requisition created by project system. Like a project system is where in SAP it's a module where it is having some network system. All the instructions which are used to be performed by the users are listed out here. A network has a requirement of creating material requirements so that these things like now whether it is stockable items or non-stockable items or services, they can be creating the purchase requisition from these project system orders. And then purchase requisition created by material planning MRP, that is the consumption block planning or regular MRP. The purchase orders MRP calculates the quantity of when creating purchase orders, MRP calculates quantities and delivery dates. Planning run also produce planned orders for in-house production, but these can be converted into purchase requisition. That option is also there. So purchase requisition is an internal purchasing suggestion that can be modified before converted into purchase order, right? So there are different ways to get the purchase requisition, and there are different sources to get the purchase requisition. It is not that it is only manually created or only from MRP, but various options are there. As part of business process control, purchase requisitions will be authorized by different levels of authorized personnel based on the value of purchase. For example, here the first case, here purchase requisition is created directly, it is processed through purchasing where there is no approval is required. In the second case, the purchase requisition is created, but there is one level of approval, then it is going to the purchasing process. And then there may be two levels of thing, like one is the user is creating, then his manager is approving, and then top management is approving, like this second level approval. So like this different kind of approvals will be there in any business function. Here we discuss with some example. For example, there is a one level purchase requisition release procedure. Approval is required. So purchase requisition is created. If the value is more than 500, system will check. No, it is not more than 500, less than 500. It will go for purchasing activity. Yes, it is more than 500, then it will go for level 1 approval, then it is purchasing activity will be completed. This is one level approval. The same thing, if you have created purchase requisition, if it is less than 500, going for purchasing. If it is more than 500, system will check again the next level check. If it is whether it is more than 2500 or less. If it is less than 2500, level 1 approval is sufficient. If not, then it will go for level 1 approval, and then it will go for level 2 approval. Then only it will go for purchase requisition. It will be processed. Okay. So like this, we have to set up the purchase requisition. Then only system will process this purchase requisition, and this is called the release procedure in SAP. Release procedure is defined using release group or release strategy and release course. We'll discuss about how to set up these kind of release options in another session. And also we can have the releasing setup for different plans in different way. That is also we can do it. So various options are there. Those things we'll be discussing in the release procedure session, not now, later. Once the release procedure setup is done, the orders purchase requisitions can be released either individually through ME54N, or they can be released collectively using the transaction called ME55. Both options are there. So in this session, we discussed various elements in purchase requisition and how to create, change, display, and purchase requisition, like a purchase requisition management. Also, we discussed the basics of purchase requisition release. Now, we will see some quiz questions for this session. In general, purchase requisitions contain vendors, true or false. Purchase requisitions are internal documents or external documents. What are item categories in purchase requisition? What is the meaning of request date in purchase requisition? How to stop processing a purchase requisition? Due to some reasons we want to stop. How to stop it? What is the purpose of creation indicator in the contact person tab in the item section of purchase requisition? What is the impact of fixed indicator in the quantities dates tab? What is the purpose of tracking number in the purchase requisition? We'll see the answers for these quiz questions in the next session. In the next session, we will discuss how to create purchase orders manually. Meanwhile, the purchase requisition list from MRP, and please go through them and also create your own purchase requisitions as part of your practice. And please give your feedback to improve the flow and contents. And please suggest this our YouTube channel to your friends and colleagues so they also get the benefit from this knowledge sharing sessions. Thank you. See you in the next session. Take care. Bye.